Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sophia Abdusalam. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how I made these shorts you are seeing right now. It has an elastic waistband and two pockets on the sides. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how I cut it out on fabric and how I stitch them together. And I'm also going to show you how to fix your pockets properly. And in case you want to make yours longer than this, I'm going to show you how you can achieve a longer pant. So if this is something you're interested in, do well to stay with me till the end. Don't forget to like, share, and please subscribe. So without wasting much of our time, let's get started with our tutorial. So for this tutorial, you are going to need a few things, such as the fabric you want to work with. Because we are going to be cutting this directly on our fabric, you are going to need your pins, you are going to need chalk, you are going to need your ruler, you are going to need your tape measure, and you are going to need elastic band. So for this tutorial, I'll be using 1.5 inch elastic band. So to know the amount of fabric you want to fold, you are going to do your hip divided by 4 plus 3 inches for the baggy effect. You can make yours 4, you can make yours 2, you can make yours 5. Then you are going to add your hip divided by 16 to that measurement, then add extra 3 inches. Okay, so sum everything together, measure it on your fabric and fold it out. Okay, you're going to measure it twice and fold it like this. Okay, so far I've folded my own like this and I've marked out a top line. This is going to be my waistline as well, and I've measured out my full trouser length plus extra 1 inch for hemming allowance. So right now let's start. Because I told you that I want to use a 1.5 inches band, so now I am now going to start my measurement. I'll be putting my tape at 1 inch from the top line because of the 1.5 inches band. You know that I will need a half inch to join the trouser to the band when I'm making it. So I'm just creating my half inch sewing allowance already. Okay, so if you are using 2 inches band, place your tape at 1.5 inch. So I measured out my full trouser length, which is 17, then extra 1 inch for hemming allowance. All right, so now the next thing I want to go in with is my waist to hip measurement. I am going with 8¾ sometimes I use 8.5, but because this pant is baggy, to not have any effect, so I'm using 8¾ So the next measurement I want to impute now is my waist to crouch measurement. So for this particular pant, you do not need a serious crouch measurement. You can easily just do your hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches if you're on the small to medium size, but if you're on the plus size, add 3 inches. So you're going to do your hip divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches for medium to small and plus 3 inches for a plus size person. All right, and note that I place my tape at 1 inch mark on the top line before I mark out my hip divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches now, and I'm going to take it across the fabric like this and connect it with a straight line. So after this, I'm going to label this line C for crouch line. All right, so now it's time to start imputing our round measurement. And before that, the first thing I'm going to do is on the side here, I'm going to go in by 1 inch. So this 1 inch is going to be my sewing allowance for this side. Okay, so in case you don't want to put pockets, you don't need this side sewing allowance, but because I'm going to put pocket, I'll need to stitch this side. That's why I am having sewing allowance on the side. So now all my measurements will now be starting from after the sewing allowance I just marked. Okay, so and I'm going to be doing my hip divided by 4 plus my baggy effect ease allowance, which is 3 inches. Okay, so whatever how much allowance you want to add for the baggy effect, just add it to your hip divided by 4 measurement. Mark it on the hip line and mark it on the crouch line. Hip divided by 4 plus 3 inches is what I mark now. Then whatever that measurement is, I am now going to minus ½ inch from it and mark it on my waistline like this. Actually, this is totally optional. The ½ inch I minus is totally optional because it didn't really have any effect on the pant after I finish making it. So you can mark exactly your hip divided by 4 plus 3 inches for the baggy effect on the waist as well. So right now it's time to get our crouch extension. To get our crouch extension, you will need to do your hip divided by 16, okay, then plus extra 1 inch for ease allowance. I told you this is a free pant, so you're adding ease everywhere. So do your hip divided by 16 plus extra 1 inch and mark it from this line forward. This is going to be our crouch extension. So I'm not going to measure what I have from here to the side and minus 1 inch from it, then mark it on the hemline. This is also totally optional. You can just measure what you have on the crouch line like this and project it on the hemline, but I don't want it looking straight. That's why I minus 1 from it and mark it on the hemline like this. So now I am going to connect from the crouch extension to the hemline with a straight line. So now I will need to add 1 inch sewing allowance to this inseam side, okay? So I am now going to add my 1 inch sewing allowance and connect it to the straight line. As you can see, I've exhausted the fabric I folded, that means I did exactly what I need. So now it is time to create our crouch curve. So from this point, I am now going to go up by 1 inch, 1¼ inch rather. So you can do as low as 1 inch, but don't do less than 1 inch. So for this tutorial, I'm doing 1¼ all right. Now I'm going to connect from this point to this point, then to the hip line with my curve ruler. If you use your curve ruler and you're not getting a nice smooth curve, you can just use your free hand. Actually, the method we are using is the free hand method. You can use your free hand to do everything. I just don't like working with my free hand. I prefer to use ruler to get accurate lines and curve. Okay, so now I want to shape the side a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to measure what I have on the waist to be sure that I have something. After I shape the side with whatever amount I want to do, it will be enough to go through my hip. So I measured and I figured I have so much, so it's okay for me to take as much as 1 inch away from the hip. So I am now going to use this 1 inch to shape the side by connecting it into the hip. Okay, so here I'm just connecting it into my 1 inch sewing allowance. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I just took away 1 inch from the waistline just to shape the side. So now I will need to add ½ inch sewing allowance to the crouch area. So I'm just going to add it all around. Then so the last thing I'm going to do on this front pattern is on the front here, I am going to go down by ½ inch and connect it into the side, okay, with a straight line. This is just to create the curvy effect on the waistline. All right, so now I just folded in my 1 inch sewing allowance so that I can cut out the lines I drew. Okay, once I'm done cutting, I'm going to set it aside so that I can fold fabric for the back. To know what I'm going to fold for the back, all I'm just going to do is divide my hip by 4 plus extra 3 inches for the baggy effect plus hip divided by 16 plus extra 5 inches. So or whatever you measured out for the front, just add extra 2 inches to it to get for the back. As for the length, whatever length you used for the front, add extra 1½ inches to it to get the length for the back, or at most add extra 2 inches for the length. So right now I have cut out my own fabric, all measurements in place. So right now I'm just using my pin to secure it. After this, I am now going to take my front pattern and place it on top of the fabric I folded for the back, and I'm going to ensure that they are equal. The fabrics are equal at the hem and on the side, but I'm going to note that I have shaped the side for the front, so it is not going to be equal towards the top. So after that, I am now going to use my pin to secure it together neatly. Once I am done, the first thing I'm going to do is to extend my hem line, okay, the original trouser length line. I am going to extend it like this so that I will have my 1 inch hemming allowance for the down part. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to extend my crouch curve or crouch line for the front. Then from the top here, I am now going to go up by 1½ inches. This is the reason why I said you should add extra 1½ inches to your length for the back. The reason why we are going up by 1½ inches is because so that when you bend down, your client's you will not be showing your panties. Okay, when you bend down, your panties will not be showing, so you need to raise the back by this amount. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is from this crouch line, you know there is half-inch sewing allowance from the front, on the front crouch. So from the original crouch line, I'm going to be marking 2 inches, and you note that I didn't take the 2 inches down to where the cuff is. I just measured it straight on the straighter part. So now I am now extending my crouch line, and I'm going to be going up by half-inches. This half-inch is going to be my sewing allowance for this area. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Remember, I did half-inch sewing allowance when I was doing the front. So right now I am just going to use my free hand to blend it into the 2 inches mark that I did. Just watch what I'm doing closely, you are going to understand. You don't need to mark 2 inches down to where the cuff part is. So from this inseam side, I'm just going to go up by 2 inches. You know, I told you we need to make the front bigger than the back, and I'm going with just 2 inches extra allowance. Okay, so I have marked it out. I'm just trying to redraw my line and connect the ones that are not well connected. So right now I am done with the front part, with the back pattern actually. Okay, so I'm just trying to explain to you here that the half-inch here, there's half-inch on the center front as sewing allowance. That is why I marked 2 inches. I could have done just 1.5 inches by if I measured from the half-inch sewing allowance. All right, I hope I'm not confusing you, Sha. So right now I am just cutting it out, and once I am done, I am going to cut out the pocket for my pant. So all these measurements I did. So if you want to make your own pants longer, just do exactly this and take it to, just do as if your trouser is longer. Instead of stopping at where I'm stopping, whatever I did at hem, go and do it on the length of your trouser, wherever you want it to stop. So right now I've cut out fabric for my pocket, and I cut out 18.5 by 13.5, I think. So the 13.5 I did is just so that I don't want it to get to the hem. If it is longer than this, it will be getting to the hem of the pant. So I just make sure that it is not getting to the hem, and by the time I put my hand will go in very well. And the 8.5 inches I did is, I consider that there is 1 inch sewing allowance. After using 1 inch to sew it, there will be 7.5 inches left. So now I folded the fabric right side facing each other. So now I have 4 pieces, but with closed parts. Okay, you need to make one side closed. So that is the closed part here. So notice that the closed part is where that is facing the center front. I don't know if you understand. So you are going to now place your fabric on top, your front pattern on top of the fabric you cut out for your pocket, and you are going to make it straight wherever possible. But note that it is not going to be straight on the waistline, because you remember we went down by half-inch to shape the waist area for the front, and it is not going to be straight towards the top on the side. I mean, you know, we shape the side by 1 inch. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It is not going to be straight here. It is not going to be straight here, but to be straight towards the side. Can you see? So right now I'm just going to use my scissors to shape everywhere that I know that I need to shape out. After shaping it like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the pocket piece and notch it at the top and at the down. So the part I'm notching is the closed end. Okay, make sure you have the closed end inside like this. So once you are done, the next thing we want to do is we want to create the shape for our pocket opening. So I'm going to, from the top, I'm going to go down by 7 inches. So this 7 inches is enough for my hand to go in. So I marked 7 inches down. Then from this 7 inches, I'm going to go in by 1.25. This is because, you know, I will use 1 inch to sew it down. So the extra quarter of an inch is just going to be there. Or you can do exactly the 1 inch, which is our sewing allowance. It is still going to come out nice. So from the top here, I'm going in by 2 inches. You know, after sewing with 1 inch, I will have 1 inch left. But you can do as little as 1.5 if you don't want it to open up so much. So I'm just going to connect from these 2 inches down to 1.25 inches with a straight line like this. So now I will need to cut out the shape I have just drawn. But to cut out the shape I have just drawn, I am not going to cut it all out, including the all the pieces for the pockets. No, I'm just going to, by now I will have 4 pieces now on this side for the pocket. If you count it, so I'll take 2 pieces for the front, then take 2 pieces out of the top pocket piece. Please, when you fold your pocket piece, make sure you have right side facing each other and they are inside each other. Okay, take 2 of the pocket piece and take the 2 for your front piece. You see, I have only 2 left for the pocket piece. Now I am now going to cut it out like this. Make sure you have 2 left out of your pocket piece that you are not going to cut. Okay, so after cutting it out like this, I am just going to head over to my machine to sew down the crouch area. So for this crouch area, I would advise you do the sewing twice, because I realized that anything crouch, they used to rip off easily, especially if you are making a tighter pant. So for your center front and the center back, when you're sewing it, make sure you sew it twice just to secure it neatly. So to fix, and also weave this area, my overlocking machine is not functioning right now, that's why I can't use it, but make sure you weave your own or you overlock your own. So to fix our pocket, you are going to turn to the right side of your pant, then separate your pocket pieces and turn to the right side as well. You are now going to place the pocket piece right side facing right side on top of your pants like this. Okay, make sure you arrange it neatly. Then I'm going to go over to my machine to sew down this edge, but to sew it down, I'm just going to mark as little as 1/4 inch as my sewing allowance. You don't have to do so much sewing allowance here. Okay, 1/4 inch should do. Just mark it out like this if you have to, like me, and use your straight ruler to connect the line, then use your pin to secure it. Now I'm going to repeat all of these things on the other pocket as well. Then I'm going to take it to the machine to sew it down. So after sewing it down, this is what I have here. The 2 pockets, everything has been secured. So what you are going to do is this angle here, you're going to take your scissors to notch it. All right, make sure you don't cut through the thread you sew with. Just cut it close, just notch it close to the thread. All right, so now I have gone ahead to sew down the center back as well with 1/2 inch sewing allowance, and like I said, do yours 2 times, do it 2 times and weave the crouch area. So now I'm just trying to iron out the pocket I have sewn down like this. So iron so that your clothes or your outfit or your whatever you're making will come out neat and better. All right, so right now I am done ironing, and this is what I have here. I'm just trying to arrange the pocket so that it is going to fit nicely. So the next thing you are going to do now is you can actually just go ahead and sew this part down and everything will be fine. But if you want a neater job, this is what you are going to do. You are going to turn to the wrong side of your pocket like this, of your fabric. You are now going to fold your pocket into 2. Take note of the notches we did. So right now, fold it into 2, ensuring that the wrong side is inside while the right side is outside like this. Okay, turn to the wrong side and fold your pocket into 2. By the time you fold your pocket, the wrong side will be inside and the right side will be outside. You're not going to sew down the down part. Okay, just take it to the machine to sew it. So now I've sewn mine like this, knowing that now after sewing it down, you are now going to turn the pocket inside out like this. Okay, by the time you turn it inside and you put your hand inside, this is the way your pocket is supposed to be. So by the time you turn it inside and put your pocket, you will be feeling the same allowance you just did. That is totally normal. Okay, now you will now go ahead and take this to the machine again after turning it inside out to go and sew it down at the down part. You can just do as little as 1/4 inch to sew it down first. Now when you are sewing it again, you do 1/4 inch as well, or you do 1/2 inch on both times. All right, so this way, if you do it, that means you'll be sewing your pocket 2 times down. So your client or you are saved. That means your pocket will not rip off and your money or anything you put inside will not fall off. So look at it now. I have sewn it down and this is what the inside looks like. Okay, looks like. Okay. I've gone ahead to top stitch this or do an under stitch on this part of the pocket as well. I forgot to mention it, but I'm showing you now so that you do it on your own. So right now I'm just going to take this to the ironing table just to iron out the new stitches I have just done. And as I am ironing, I'm going to pin down the side that is open. Okay, you know, the side of the pocket is still open. We need to secure it so that we'll be able to fix the front, to put the back pattern on it. Okay, so let me just iron it first, then we'll still talk about the part that is open again. If you are still watching at this point, do well to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe as well and turn up the notification button so that you don't miss out when I upload new videos. So now the waist area is open. As you can see, it is dangling, so I will need to take it to the machine to sew it down and sew down the side. So now I have sewn them down neatly. Can you see my pocket is ready and everything is looking like a short now, almost looking like a short pant. So now it's time to fix the back and the front piece together. So I'm just going to place my back piece on top of the front piece like this, and I'm going to mark out my 1 inch sewing allowance on the side. So I'm just going to take my tape and my chalk, mark it out, then use my ruler to draw out the line. I'll do the same thing on the second side, then head over to the machine to sew it down following the line I have just drawn. Okay, so after this, I'm going to pin down this crouch area as well, and I'm going to ensure that the seam on both sides of the crouch, front and back, they align with each other. Then I'm going to pin them down like this so that it doesn't shift by the time I'm sewing it. So when I'm done sewing the side of this pants, I'm going to sew down this inseam area as well with 1 inch sewing allowance that I did. So if you did like maybe half of an inch, so do your own with half of an inch. Okay, so I'm just going to head over to the machine to sew this down. So look at it now. I have sewn everything down neatly. I don't know if you can see what is going on at the crotch area here. So as you can see, my pant is coming together gradually, and I've even ironed it, so make sure you iron your own. So now to fix the band, the first thing we are going to do is we will need to measure out what we have on the waist of the pants like this. So I start my measurement from the center front, and I'm going to measure it all the way around to see what I have. Okay, so whatever I have, I have 53 here. I am going to add extra 1 inch to it to make it 54. The reason why I'm adding extra 1 inch is just so that by the time I am joining, can you see it's a long thing I cut, and by the time I'm joining it with half inch on both sides, so the half inch will make up for the 1 inch extra I added for the band. Okay, so now for the band length, this is what I did. After marking out my elastic width, I added extra 3/4 of an inch, though half inch is what I'm going to use to sew it, but the remaining 1/4 of an inch is just for ease allowance, so that when I'm inserting the band inside, it is going to move freely. Though this is optional, you can do exactly your band width then plus half of an inch for sewing it. Okay, so now I will mark out half inch sewing allowance here. So now I cut it out on fold, though, please, I cut it out on fold. So right now I will open it up. Okay, I've opened up my band like this, and I need to sew it down, but I'm not just going to sew it down like this. I will need to create an opening, so that this opening is where my band I will use to pass my band into my elastic into the band. So right now you need to decide, you know, the band is on fold, so you need to decide which part of the band will be the front. When you decide, you're now going to create like maybe 3/4 inch opening. So you're not going to sew it straight up all the way down, because if you sew it straight up, which part, where will you insert your elastic? So what I did is, I decided the part that will be for the center front. Then I mark out my half inch sewing allowance like this. From the top, I went down by half inch sewing allowance. Then from this half inch sewing allowance, I'll measure what I have left. Then after measuring what I have left, I just create like half inch in the middle or 3/4 inch in the middle, which is going to be my opening. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So I'm sorry about my camera here. I didn't know it has zoomed in a lot like this. So I just hope you understand what I'm saying regarding creating the hole for the band like this. So I didn't sew all the way down. Okay. So I'm sorry guys. I hope you get it. So right now I'm just going to, after sewing down the band, the opening has been created. I am just going to go ahead and fix it on the waist of the pant. I'm going to secure it with the pin. If you do your band measurements correctly, you should not have any shortage. Everything should fit perfectly. So by the time you pin it together, once you are done pinning it, take it to the machine to sew it down with your sewing allowance. I did half inch sewing allowance, and that is what I'm going to use to sew down the band and the pants together. So from what you can see here, I've gone ahead to sew down my pants, my band and the pants together. So I am just going to unpin it now so that you can see what I have. So now from the look, can you see what I have here? So what I'm just going to do here, even before I do anything, is I am going to overlock this area. If your overlocking machine is working, please overlock what you have just sewn down. Then take it to the iron to iron it. Okay, we need to iron it so that it will be relaxed. I like to iron a lot. It makes my work neat. Okay, so iron the band down, ensuring that the seam allowance is facing down when you're ironing. Okay, ensure the seam allowance is facing down. So now I'm done ironing. It is time to insert my elastic. So for the elastic width, actually I don't even have a standard measurement. But what you need to consider when you are doing your elastic length is that you need to consider the length of your hip measurements and the round of the band. I mean, when you measure the band, what do you have? It's because the elastic needs to go through your hip, and it also needs to go around the band by the time you stretch it out. Okay, so what I have is around 22.5 inches. Though after I finished making this, I realized that the 22.5 inches actually went through my hip, but it did not go through the waist of the band, I mean of the pants, because it doesn't stretch so much. So consider your trouser, the trouser you're making, consider how much you have there, and consider your hip before you cut out your elastic. So to fix the elastic, I'm just going to use my safety pin like this, then attach it on the elastic band, then insert it inside the through the opening I created. I'm sorry once again guys, I didn't know my camera zoomed up, so that's why I couldn't explain the opening, but I just hope you get it when you're doing your own. So use your safety pin to insert the elastic neatly like this. It is going to take a little bit of your time, but the end result is going to worth it. All right, so as you are imputing it, as you're inserting the elastic, rearranging it so that the elastic is not folding up inside the band. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So just insert it like this. So right now I'm done inserting it. So to secure this part so that it doesn't enter into the band, I'm just going to use my safety pin to secure it. You can actually sew it like this, so put it together and sew it like this. It is going to be bulky. So for me to sew it, I'm just going to place it on top of each other like this, then take it to my machine to sew it down. Okay, so now I am at the machine and I'm using my pin to secure it. So just place it on top of each other. This way, when it is not going to be bulky inside your band. Okay, so this way just sew it like 2 to 3, in fact 3 to 4 times if you can, so that it will be secured and everything would stay in place. All right, I am done sewing it. I'll just unpin it and try to stretch out the band so that the elastic will enter inside. So this is what I have now. So you can actually leave your pants like this. Okay, so here I'm just trying to arrange the elastic inside so that it doesn't fold up. And look at what I have. You can actually leave your elastic band like this, but the downside to this is that If you leave it like this, the elastic will be folding up inside the band, and you need to make sure it doesn't start folding up. So to correct that, you will need to take this to the machine and sew it down. I'm going to show you how to sew it down like this. So this is where your elastic needs to be stretchy. You need to make sure the elastic you use stretches enough to go round the band of your pants, because if it doesn't go round, by the time you are sewing this, you realize that you have excess fabric while you have reached the limit of your elastic. Okay, that is why I said it is important for you to consider your waist round on the pant before you chose the length of your elastic band. Actually, for this pant as well, the elastic band I used was too short. I should have done something like 26 instead of the 22 that I used, because it didn't later go round the waistband of the pants. Okay, but I'm just showing you how to do it. So when you are doing it, you'll be stretching the band and the clothes. Okay, you'll be stretching the band and the clothes, and you'll be sewing it. Okay, so now this is what I have. I am done. This is what the pant looks like. So if you are still here with me, thank you so much for watching my video. Do well to like, share, and please subscribe. See you guys in my next tutorial. Bye bye.